Super Smash Bros. Franchise. No other franchise in gaming can boast as many characters, as many crossovers, and as much action as this franchise. Ever since it got going on the N64, which was decades ago, fans across the world have been captivated by the roster additions, by the sheer amount of variety, moves that you can do, and of course, new character additions with each iteration of Super Smash Bros. And with Super Smash Bros. Coming out on the Nintendo Switch in 2018, I thought it'd be a great time to look over the 5 most likely characters, but this is going to be a little bit different because it's not just going to be the typical, okay, here's the Nintendo characters, here are the third-party characters. We're going to go over 2 icons that can be added in, not just third-party characters that you would like to see, because that's something that I'm noticing with a lot of these lists. It's what they would like to see. I'm going to go over 2 characters in terms of icons that are probably going to happen, that are likely to happen, in addition to 3 Nintendo characters that are likely to happen. Now, I'll have some lists in terms of top 10 and my dream lists in future videos, but with this one, like I said, we're going to split it up a little bit. 2 icons, 3 Nintendo characters that are most likely to enter the fray on Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch. So let's go ahead and get right into this. First up, we have Ribbon Girl from ARMS. Now, for those who don't know what ARMS is about, it is a fighting game where you extend your arms out that was made by the same team that made Mario Kart. This was a big game and a little bit of a risk for Nintendo, especially for the Mario Kart team. This game boasts 1080p, 60 frames per second gameplay. Online, has a variety of different arms that you can use, and in terms of fighting games, it sold really well, with the last time Nintendo talked about it selling over 1.6 million units worldwide for a brand new fighting game IP. Now, the ARMS has a lot of unique characters in there in terms of how they look. Not necessarily their personality, but the reason why I think Ribbon Girl makes the cut out of any of the other characters on there is because, 1, it adds another female fighter to the roster, but also 2, Ribbon Girl is one of the most popular characters in the game, and she has some pretty unique traits to her, to the fact that she can jump multiple times. She has a lot of jumps on her, so that kind of fits Smash Brothers well in terms of what you have to do, because it's a platform fighter, you have to jump to get back on, so it makes sense there. But on top of that, Ribbon Girl actually has a lot of style to her, in my opinion. I love the design as far as how she looks, and once again, another female fighter added into the roster. Now, in terms of a moveset and what Ribbon Girl could do in the game, I think all the proof or what they can do or what they can take is in the game ARMS, right? Look at all the different custom arms that you have. Look at all the different stuff that you can equip to each one of them. You can extend out and hit people. I think that it's going to be fantastic if they were to bring Ribbon Girl over, and I feel that she's the most likely just because she kind of checks all the boxes when it comes to a potential Super Smash Bros. Character, a little bit more variety in there in terms of the roster and genders and things like that. So my first likely pick for a Nintendo character to be added into Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch is Ribbon Girl from the franchise ARMS. Moving on to my next pick, we have Golden Sun, and yes, we have Isaac. And I know some of you guys are probably shaking your head like, what? Golden Sun? Nintendo hasn't talked about that franchise. Nintendo hasn't done anything with that franchise in years. Like, why not something that's more recent? But I honestly feel that Golden Sun is the franchise that Nintendo has been trying to get back into the light. They've been trying to see where they can actually fit in Golden Sun when it comes to a lineup, and I do feel that the Nintendo Switch is finally that system to where they can bring Golden Sun back in the way that they want to bring it back. With the Nintendo 3DS and with the Nintendo Wii U, obviously there were some issues from there in terms of what they wanted to do going forward with the franchise. But now that you have a portable and you have a home console put into one, you can bring that game to more audiences that you ever had available to bring it to in terms of the styles of gameplay people like, being able to play portably and also on the home console. So I do feel that Golden Sun will make a return at some point, and I think that Isaac from the Golden Sun franchise is finally going to get his time to shine in Super Smash Bros. This franchise has absolutely no representation when it comes to characters in Super Smash Bros. Now, we've had like assist trophies, or we've had basically things that's in there to where you can actually see Isaac. So the Golden Sun franchise has been in Smash Bros. In terms of like the retro stuff and what you can see, but we still don't have an actual character. And Golden Sun and Isaac to be particular, that would be a fantastic addition to the cast. He's a classic swordsman, and I know some people are probably thinking, oh, that's too many swordsmen, but Isaac is a bit different in terms of his powers and what he can do. I would really like to see him join into there and get that Golden Sun representation that we've been waiting for, because Golden Sun is one of those franchises that at one point people are thinking, yo, this is going to be a huge franchise going forward. It's going to have iterations on the console. You're going to be able to play it with amazing graphics in HD, and it has not come to fruition at this point. But I do feel that this is going to be one of the surprise announcements on the Nintendo Switch at some point, maybe this year or next year, in terms of a new Golden Sun, and we will get a character from that franchise. So if it's not Isaac, it might be someone else, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be him since he's the most popular. So Isaac is my pick for the next most likely character in terms of Nintendo characters for Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo Switch. And moving on to my final Nintendo pick, and that is Rex, Pyra, Mythra, and someone else. So for those who don't know who Rex, Pyra, and Mythra are, they are from the franchise that's called Xenoblade Chronicles, and to be particular, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where you play as Rex, a young boy who's a salvager. He goes digging up stuff in the Lost Ocean Sea and pulls it back up to these massive beasts called Titans. But then he gets embroiled in this worldwide conflict that just sends him to all these different locations on Titans, accompanied by two mythical beings within one blade, and that is Pyra and Mythra. And the powers that he gets from them are basically superhuman. They transfer these powers. Pyra is a 500-year-old blade that's looking for her own answers. It's a fantastic story, and I think that this is one of the franchises in terms of Sakurai and what he thinks. He feels very fondly about this one. He put over 80 hours into Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I do feel that he's going to try to get those characters in there just because of what they signify. And I feel that this would probably be one of the most unique characters in Smash Bros. History, or even like a Pokemon trainer, Rosalina and Luma, because Rex, who is the driver, he actually gets powers from the blade, and the blade kind of sits back at times and transfers the power. Now the blade, which would be Pyra and Mythra, they can also attack too, but the main fighter would be Rex, and he's the driver that kind of takes the weapon and does things. So they can show Pyra and Mythra in the back kind of transferring power, and then Rex can be fighting, and other fighters, in order to kind of like power down Rex, they can hit Rex, they can try to separate Pyra and Mythra from Rex. And I would love it if you were able to switch between them, because you can't have two blades out at one time going on one driver. You have to switch between them in up to 3. And if they were able to add in one more blade from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that would be amazing, and you can switch between the 3 and access different powers between them. Almost like the Pokemon trainer back in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, when you had Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard. So I think that that would be one of the most unique mechanics to come through since Pokemon Trainer on Brawl, and I would just love to see that. I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is an amazing game, and I feel that that is probably the most likely because of what Sakurai has said about the game, and of course because Nintendo had a huge push for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, probably the biggest marketing push they've ever done for that franchise, and the biggest sales for that franchise, as it sold over 1.06 million units in 1 month from December 1st to December 30th. So fantastic news there, and I think that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is definitely going to be, in terms of representation, going to have a character in there to accompany the other Xenoblade Chronicles character, and that is Shulk. All right, guys, so that wraps it up for my Nintendo-based characters. Now let's move into my icon-based third-party characters. And the reason why I'm saying icon-based, because if you look at all of the characters that are in Smash Brothers that have ever guest starred in the series, they've all been huge Japanese icons. We can even go back to Super Smash Brothers Brawl, right? Snake was the big guest character in that game, and also Sonic, but Snake was one of them that was just like, yo, Snake's in the game, even though he hadn't really been much on Nintendo hardware. Now these two characters that I'm going to be talking about, they are big Japanese icons because that's what Sakurai likes to look into in order to put characters in there. Mega Man, Pac-Man, Sonic, Cloud, all of those characters are just iconic in their own right. So let's go ahead and get into my 2 most likely characters. All right, and the first one is Bomberman from the Bomberman franchise. Now, Bomberman is something that people have been wanting, but Bomberman is so iconic in terms of the amount of games that he's had, right? Bomberman, back in the day, used to play that. It's been ported to almost every single system and even saw a little bit of a resurgence with the Nintendo Switch right there at launch day. Super Bomberman R, from the last time we heard about it in terms of sales, Super Bomberman R has sold over 500,000 units, and that was like 8 or 9 months ago. It sold a lot in a very short amount of time. Nintendo worked with Konami in order to get that game out at launch on the Nintendo Switch, and now Super Bomberman R is being ported over to PS4, Xbox One, and PC. But at the same time, that impact that it had on a lot of gamers for the Nintendo Switch, and overall the Bomberman franchise, back in the day, Super Bomberman on the Super Nintendo was just amazing, and a ton of games even leading all throughout. We had Bomberman 64, we had Bomberman on the GameCube. One of my favorites was Bomberman Jetters on the GameCube. We also had Bomberman just pretty much on every single system. We've had digital download Bombermans on the Wii and everything. There's just been so many different Bomberman games to grace Nintendo platforms and also portables as well. So I do feel that Bomberman will finally get his play in this new Smash Brothers game as one of the third-party icons that will be added into the fray. All right, and going on to my last most likely pick, and I will have to admit, since I've been saying this for quite some time, I do feel that maybe some of you guys might think this is a little bit of a biased pick, and maybe it is, but I do think that it's finally coming along with an announcement of something, and that is Chrono from Chrono Trigger. And let me give you guys a couple of reasons why I think Chrono is coming. One, obviously he's a huge icon when it comes to Japanese gaming, when it comes to just RPGs in general. And I'm pretty sure Sakurai has played and loved Chrono Trigger as well. But I think that the relationship between Square Enix and Nintendo is heating up in a good way, and that's when it comes to reboots, right? We've got a number of reboots already announced and planned for the Nintendo Switch, for example, like The World Ends With You and other stuff from Square Enix. And I do feel that accompanying this basically putting of Chrono Trigger in here, we are going to get some form of re-release or reboot of Chrono Trigger on the Nintendo Switch at some point. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I think that this is the franchise. This is the system to finally do it. And based on what Square Enix has said about wanting to reboot IPs on the Nintendo Switch, this would be a perfect fit to get the popularity of Chrono out there and also to kind of market him at the same time with Super Smash Brothers. And I think that those characters, when it comes to Bomberman and it comes to Chrono, these type of third-party characters are iconic, but at the same time, they can have some really cool movesets. Now, going into Chrono's moveset, obviously, he has lightning powers, he has tons of double attacks and triple attacks that he can do that you can actually put in there for potentially a final smash in terms of his other characters. He has different skills. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do that you can plan around a character for Chrono in Super Smash Brothers, and I think that he would just animate and just look so good in the game. So that is my last pick, my two icons, Bomberman and Chrono. Then also my 3 Nintendo characters, that would be Ribbon Girl, that would also be Rex, Pyra, Mithra, in addition to Isaac from Golden Sun. So what do you guys think about my picks here, and what are your most likely picks that you feel will make it into Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of Player Essence across the webs in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming page and consider supporting Player Essence. When you do so, it gets you access to all sorts of cool benefits, perks, rewards, and emotes via YouTube sponsorship. So check out the link in the description below and consider supporting Player Essence right here on YouTube. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to Player Essence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you for the next video. Peace.